Hi, Dave.
Martin, nice to see you as always.
Yeah, this is Team 2025 in Barcelona this year.
Here we are.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit about how the future of Jira will look like in the next 1 to 3 years, especially with AI evolving. People think they don't have to work anymore. Everything will be done by an agent, the virtual JSM agent. I had a customer sitting here 20 minutes ago who was raving about how virtual agent has transformed their JSM practice.
Yeah.
And I assume that we all want the busy work be done by...
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's going to manifest as nobody having to do anything anymore. But, if you don't have teams doing work, then you don't really have teamwork, and then you probably don't have Atlassian at that point. But we'll cross one bridge at a time. But I think there's certainly a lot of ways to make teams more efficient. We set out a vision for Jira more than a year and a half ago at this point at Team 24 back in the US about bringing Jira software and Jira work management together into one product, Jira. And we're being much more intentional about building Jira for every knowledge worker in the organization. And AI has unlocked an incredible opportunity, I think, to help us accelerate on that vision. We said, okay, in order to make Jira viable for every single person in the company, whether they're a software developer or an ops engineer or a service IT service agent or a marketer or a lawyer or a facilities operations manager, to reach a much broader group of people, we had to make the user experience of Jira a lot simpler. And AI with Rovo, we have tons of opportunities to not just improve the day-to-day, boxes and arrows and colors of Jira, but actually, transform the way you do some of the tasks in Jira to make it much simpler for users. Obviously, there's tons of value in being a super well-trained Jira administrator, but on the other hand, if you just want to, edit a workflow for the first time, and you could just say, hey, Rovo, please add a new status to this workflow, or make this field required when people try to move the work items into the next status. And Rovo can just make that change for you, and you don't have to understand what a workflow scheme is, or what statuses are, or what inbound versus outgoing transitions are. Like, that's transformative, I think, to how many teams can kind of realize the power of a really well-structured app like Jira, but still make it feel like it's simple and easy to use.
So initially, back in the days in 2009, when I started to work with Atlassian customers as an Atlassian partner, we were doing a lot of things. Like, we were hosting Jira, we were updating Jira, we were answering very simple questions. And simple questions are now answered by ChatGPT or Gemini from Google or whatever.
Yeah.
And hosting is now done by Atlassian. Which specific tasks do you see that partners will do in the future?
Let me take a step back. What's the vision for Jira? At the end of the day, we want Jira to be the source of truth for all the work that's happening, or as much work as possible, especially structured, task-based, workflow-based work that's happening within an organization. And so, which means we want every single business process, every single workflow to be represented in Jira. So where can partners help us the most is deeply understanding all those different workflows that are happening within a business, and then partnering with the customer to say, okay, how do we translate this workflow into, not just Jira, but Atlassian's system. Atlassian provides maybe a system of digital objects, for lack of a better word. And but if you look at why do we call it the system of work? Because ideally, all these digital objects that we are providing to a business can represent the kinds of work that are happening.
It's basically what you call the teamwork graph
in their organization. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's all you have. People are doing tasks, they're supporting requests, they're creating pull requests, they're creating assets, they're, knowledge workers generate knowledge, and that knowledge can, take the form of whiteboards or pages in Confluence or videos in Loom, and we can stitch it all together and then hopefully extract something greater on the other side, especially with the power of AI. But in order to produce the best outcomes for customers there, we need to make sure that we're bringing all that work into Atlassian. And that's not necessarily easy. There's a lot of friction to, not just setting up the Atlassian products. Hopefully we can make that easier and easier to use, but really helping customers say like, okay, like, what are you trying to do? What does success look like? What are the steps involved? And then say, okay, how are you actually representing it in your tools and your software today? And is there an opportunity to do that better with Atlassian's system? And then get that work into the, set aside Jira, the entire Atlassian. Maybe it's a Confluence-based workflow. Maybe it's a JSM-based workflow. And then ideally, once it's there, continue to remove the friction, and then finally, like, let it help a customer kind of understand and realize the value there. So I think that's kind of underappreciated. It's not just installation or deployment or initial setup, but I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities for partners to work with customers on an ongoing basis to say like, hey, okay, we've made this investment in tracking all of our work in Atlassian system. Are we getting the value out of it? Are we getting the insights? Based on what's happening and what we know, what can we do better?
Teamwork graph. Can you explain the vision that Atlassian has and the role that Jira will play in putting data in there so that AI agents can tap into this context stuff then?
Yeah, I think Teamwork Graph is the most important single piece of technology that Atlassian has built, is building, continues to invest in. Like, it is the secret sauce that will make Atlassian for the next 10 years. Because, ultimately, like I said, there's knowledge work between people who are kind of sitting at a computer all day. It's digital in nature. It's ethereal in nature. It's like, okay, I have an idea, you have an idea. Together, we put those ideas, and that becomes a strategy. Somebody else has a discussion. We improve the strategy. Then a team gets tasked with implementing the strategy, which means like, they create a bunch of work and they do tasks. Maybe they create more documents. They have some more meetings, and hopefully something valuable comes out of it on the other side. And so the Teamwork Graph is really our attempt to say like, okay, what are all of those objects and actions, and how do we create ways to use a software developer analogy? These are, strongly typed primitives, right? Microsoft might be able to say, this is a document. And we're able to say, okay, not only is this a page, but this page connects to this idea from JPD, which is broken down into work in Jira, which is being worked on by Team A and Team B. And Team A has a goal, which is aligned to a company strategy, which means that this document is related to the company's strategy, right? And then so basically, the best way to think about it is that Teamwork Graph is the underlying data layer, and then we have applications like Focus, which is, hey, this Focus is a great way to view and understand and present a company strategy, but it's made so much richer because I can say, what's going on with the strategy, and our search will be able to say like, okay, well, this document is related, and therefore I should understand that. I was testing a new Rovo feature the other day, and start with a very simple question: what's my team working on? And I just asked Rovo, what's my team working on? Rovo knows who I am. I am a user. I have a profile which the Teamwork Graph knows about. And because I'm a member of a team, it can say, okay, Dave Meyer, Jira product management team. Okay, based on that, what are all the members of the Jira product management team working on? Finds a document. thankfully it's titled like Jira top 6 priorities. And so then it can go through read the document. Data quality is very helpful. Reads
I had a
it,
video
but then it didn't just return the single document to me. It took each item in that document and found a bunch of information that wasn't on the page and re-summarized it all for me with a bunch of other additional links. And that kind of real-time generation of all of the relationships between not just documents, but Jira work items and Loom videos, like that's, I think, as AI becomes more powerful, the types of things we can do are going to become more powerful as well.
When I recorded the video with Sharif Mansour, a colleague of you, a couple of months ago, he said the big strength of this teamwork graph is that we can provide way more context than, I know, ChatGPT can, because they don't have that insight. Is Atlassian then building an MCP server for me?
So we already have an MCP.
And is that teamwork graph then powering that MCP server so that I can use that elsewhere as well?
I definitely see us going in that direction. So in the keynote, you saw the demo of assigning a work item to a Canva agent, right? And it's one thing to say, so the best way to look at that work item when we give it to the Canva agent is like the work item is the prompt to the agent. And I think anybody who's used ChatGPT or any kind of chatbot knows that the better quality of a prompt you give to the agent, the better quality, output you're going to get in response, right? And so the teamwork graph is basically the secret sauce to producing much better prompts to those agents. So instead of just giving that agent, hey, here's the text of the work item, or I write a comment like, hey Canva, can you create some designs based on the description here? It can say, okay, well, I'm gonna go find the related Confluence documentation. There's some Confluence pages that are linked to this work item. It can read through those, find out what the team's goals are. It can search the entire teamwork graph of information that we have, using that individual work item as kind of the singular linking point. And it, as opposed to you kind of going straight to Canva and saying like, okay, here's my page with my team's goals. Here's the project plan. Here's the specific work item. Here's what a successful design looked like in the past. Or you're going to a developer agent like Cursor and saying like, okay, here's the architecture diagram. Here's the spec. Here's the PRD. Here are some code paths that are similar. Obviously, it's still amazing because you can give the Cursor agent all of that, and it'll produce really impressive.
And Atlassian's helping me with that.
And we're certainly investing there too with Rovo Dev. And I think Rovo Dev will hopefully be the best example of how we can bring this to life. But at the end of the day, we can hopefully save you a bunch of time that would otherwise be spent just writing the prompt by making the work item the prompt itself, and you start using Jira as an orchestration engine. Yeah.
Okay, last question. We may meet next time in Anaheim next year.
Yeah.
What is Dave Meyer and the Jira team doing for customers and for me to make Jira simpler so that it is easier to use?
The number one thing that I am most excited about is the investments we're making in work item creation. Right now, I think most people's experience of creating a new issue, a new work item in Jira is I click the create button and I get a big form with a ton of fields, right?
And it can be very extensive, right?
It can be very extensive, and you don't fill out 90% of them. And I think just seeing that, it reinforces to a lot of people, oh, Jira is complicated. And then that can be a reason not to use Jira, which then, if your job as an admin is like, oh yeah, we want to get everybody using one system, like that makes it harder, right?
Yeah.
And so we're making it, one, a lot simpler to create work anywhere. So whether that's in a chat app or in your email or, just asking Rovo from your mobile app to create the work, but then in Jira, just creating a new AI native experience that's much, much simpler, where instead of you filling out all the fields in the form, you just describe the work item, and then we can fill out the form fields for you. So
I'll give you
hopefully you'll be seeing that at Team 26.
Okay.
And I mean, big picture, we're not trying to do anything complicated. Well, AI can be complicated, but besides that, really, we're doing really simple things. We're trying to make creating issues easier, looking at viewing work items easier. We've got big improvements in the list coming, as well as boards. It's Jira at the end of its day is still how do you create and then manage your work, and we just want to make that every single part of that a little bit better for
teams and ladies. Dave Meyer, thanks.
Always good to see you.
Cool.